Hey guys, it's Jess, and on today's video I wanted to talk to you guys about newbie questions I had while I was starting out. I still have questions, but they aren't these that I have, and I'm pretty confident that I know the answer to them. So I will let you guys know what I was questioning when I started, because maybe you guys have the same questions and you might not have found the answer to them. So yeah, I'm making this video just because when I started out, like I said, I had a lot of questions, and sometimes I watched so many videos and read so many forums that when I try to go back and reread it or confirm like what I was doing, I couldn't find them because there's so many videos, so many forums. So I hope that this video makes it easier for you guys. If you guys are wondering some of these things, I hope that it makes it easier for you guys, so you guys can come back and watch it if you guys want to. So I hope, yeah, because I haven't seen anybody do this kind of video, like, questions that I had while I was starting out. So if somebody has, I'm sorry, correct me, because I haven't seen a video like this. But yeah, I'll start. So I made 18 questions last night because that's what I came up with. So I'll read 9 of them on this video, and then I'll do a part 2 and read the other 9. So I have my list here. So if I'm moving a paper, that's this list. So the first question that I wondered when I started was, how often do I water? Like, you see so many people saying, oh, you water once a week or once every 2 weeks. It all depends on your environment. So if your environment's more humid, you're going to water less. If your environment's more dry, you're going to have to water more. And it also varies with the season or temperature. So if it's like winter, you're going to water less just because there's not that constant heat that's evaporating your water from your medium. And if it's hot, you're probably going to have to water more than once a week, especially if you grow them outdoors. So it all depends on your environment. So a way you can check it is, if you have a clear container like this right here, you can probably see the roots, and if they're still green, you can just leave it there. But if they're silvery, usually I do, like, if they've been silver for like 2 days, I'll water, but that's for Phalaenopsis. So you have to kind of adjust to certain orchids, because some orchids don't like to be dry. Others like their dry days, like the Cattleyas. So yeah, you'll have to just check how much, like, that specific orchid you want to grow, how wet and dry it likes to stay. So yeah, I hope that answered it. And if you guys want to ask me more about that, and just if you guys want to ask me more about any of these questions, comment down below, and because I might not cover everything, so sorry in advance if I don't. So the next question is, do I need to fertilize? And yes would be the answer, just because your orchid might be growing okay today, but in like 2 years or a year, it's going to be growing really slow compared to the other orchids. So, like, let's say this would be a good example, like right here. So these, when you fertilize them this growing season, it will show how much you take care of it this season, but next season the bulb will depend on how much you fertilized it and how much you took care of it this season. So that's basically how it's going to be with the rest of the orchids, even the ones without bulbs. You'll notice the difference in a year, in a few months. So definitely fertilize. And right now I'm using let me show you guys, the MSU fertilizer, and this is really good. I really like it. Some orchids can also get nutrient deficiency, more specifically calcium. If your water doesn't have it. And I've noticed it on a few phals where the leaves turn thinner. They don't turn thinner, they grow thinner, and they're a lot more floppier. So that's a difference you'll notice right away. So even though the leaves are the same size, you'll notice the thinness. So yeah, I'll link the video, where is it, here, for the one I did on my Phalaenopsis species, because that one's definitely showing nutrient, specifically calcium deficiency, and that's what you need to fertilize. So yeah, the next one is how much light / humidity do I need? So orchids definitely like over 12 hours of sun, so between 12 and 16 of sunlight. So obviously we don't get that amount, but specifically if you're in a 4-season environment, you don't get a lot of sun during the winter. So you can definitely grow them with lights, or you can just grow them how your sun works. If that makes any sense. Definitely the growth will start slowing down if you use a window, not a light, just because it is getting less sunlight. So with that, your watering will also probably decrease, because it's not going to be using the same amount of water, because it's kind of not dormant, but it's slowing down on its growth. So unless it's a catasetum, you're never stop watering. Yeah. How much humidity? So some orchids require a lot of humidity, and if you grow them in a house or in a dorm room like me, you're not going to get that humidity. So some orchids require at least 40% humidity, and that's what I used to grow them at, 40%, before something with my humidity messed up, so now it's really low. But yeah, try to keep it at 40, the minimum. In some ways you can, well, the next question is, how do I provide humidity? You can get a humidifier like this, a small one. If that's not enough, you can get a big one. Those are a bit more expensive, but definitely worth it. And I do have one, but I still need to go home and get it. That's probably going to be during Thanksgiving break, so yeah. Or if you are a broke college student like me, or if you want to save money, what you guys can do too is I used to do this last year when I didn't have a humidifier. I would get my towel, and like a big towel, and just like wet it under like the shower or the sink, and just like kind of make sure that it's not dripping water, and then just put it behind my seat, because right now it's wet. And right here, this one too, it's wet, so it'll provide humidity for it. Like right now it's at 35%, when last night it was at 28 when I came to my room. So that's definitely too low, but you see how it brought it up, like, how much is that? I'm bad at math, but yeah, 7%. So it brought it up 7% just with using this and the towels, and that's free. So you guys can definitely do it if you put more towels, not towers, in it. That's just like an easy way to put humidity up. So yeah, I've never heard of anybody do it except for me, so that's a way to do it. Also, you can, like I said, you can get humidifiers, and you can use a humidity tray. So underneath your orchids, you can get a tray, and then put some like pebbles or rocks, and just make sure that the water is underneath the level of the rocks, and then just put your orchids on top, and it will make it go up, like the humidity go up. And a lot of people do that, but with lack of pebbles. So you can definitely try out different types of pebbles or clay things. with the humidity trays. So it all depends what you want to do. I feel maybe the cheapest way would just be to obviously do the towel thing, but then I feel like it's the humidifier, just because if you're buying the rocks, or if you're buying really expensive rocks, that can add up, and the trays too, and especially if you have a big collection, I feel like it's more beneficial if you get a humidifier. So yeah. How cold / hot can an orchid get? So it all depends on what type of orchid you have. So to be on the safe side, I don't like my orchids to be below a certain degree Fahrenheit, because I use Fahrenheit. So yeah, like my room right here is the lowest is 67.5. So if you're growing them outside, you'll have to research how cold an orchid can get, or how hot. Usually they will tolerate, I feel like, heat less. They will tolerate heat less. If that makes any sense. Just because the roots and the bulbs and the leaves can get burnt, but with a cool temperature, they can also create a cold damage. So definitely see how much heat and coolness they can take. So I don't have a specific answer for that. That's what I just noticed. That if you grow indoors, you really don't have to worry about creating like cold damage, or you can create sun damage, like sunburns, but if you use a sheer curtain, you're good. Unless your orchid doesn't like that, then you'll probably have to move it. So which orchids are easy to care for? And a lot of people say Oncidiums, which I do agree. They're pretty easy to take care of, but I find them boring. Like, they're a bit boring for me. But Phalaenopsis are pretty easy to take care of too. They love full water culture. Like, you can see this one. This one loves full water culture. Basically loves anything you do as long as you water it. And probably if you don't water it, it'll still love you. So those are pretty easy to take care of, and you can definitely experiment with them. And they can give you a spike. Like, they give you a spike so easily. So all you have to do is make sure it gets a temperature drop, maybe like 5 degrees difference at night and day. So that's what I do. And bam, like, the little thing starts growing. So it's so easy to take care of. And I find them way prettier than Oncidiums. That's just my thing. Like, I don't really like Oncidiums compared to Phalaenopsis, because that's one of my first loves. But Phalaenopsis species are not that easy to take care of. So definitely, if you're looking for an easy orchid to take care of, go for the hybrids and not the species. And the hybrids are usually those that have no tag. You can find them at Walmart, Trader Joe's, Lowe's, places like that. Usually they will say Phalaenopsis hybrid. So yeah. Where can I buy orchids? So if you are not like a serious grower, like, by that I mean you don't really care what type of orchids you have, so you don't care that it has a tag and has a specific name, you can definitely buy them from Walmart, Trader Joe's. They're pretty cheap. There's some places though that are more expensive, so definitely look out for them. But yeah, I would say that Trader Joe's and Walmart is way cheaper when you buy orchids. Yeah, so definitely try them first. There are also vendors online. I'm very biased with Hauserman orchids. They sell like a really wide variety of orchids. They sell catasetums, paphiopedilums. Wait, no, not catasetums. They do sell some catasetums sometimes, but they sell paphiopedilums, vandas, dendrobiums, phalaenopsis species, a lot of things. So they have them for a pretty affordable price. So you can definitely check them out. There's also other vendors that specify on certain things, like SVO. They specialize in catasetums and dendrobiums and cattleyas. So yeah, you'll have to check it out. Just Google like US vendors or wherever you're from vendors, and they will come up. And also from the orchid groups, they can be pretty cheap, but you'll have to be careful because yeah, you don't want to buy just any orchid from Facebook because they can be a crappy quality. So go to RMP Orchids. They're pretty good. I've bought from them, from that orchid group, 3 times, and I've been happy 3 times. So yeah, check them out too. And okay, what are the different potting materials? So I'll try to go really quick because I'm at 16 minutes right now and I don't want to make this a really long video. But yeah, potting materials, you can use bark. Would probably be more useful on a more humid area, just so you don't create mold, yeah. Just because if you use bark on a dry area, you'll have to water constantly. So yeah, I don't like watering constantly because I don't have time. But if you guys are into that and your area's humid and you want to try out bark, go ahead. You can also mix bark with sphagnum just to create a more humid type media. There's sphagnum by itself, and that's really water retentive and used for more drier areas. So it's useful for me, and it's also useful for those people that can't water often, like me. Well, be careful with it because too much watering can create rot. So that's why a lot of people don't like using it, because they associate rot with sphagnum. Using sphagnum does not essentially mean it's going to rot your orchid. It's how often you water your orchid. So you'll have to make sure that it's dry before you can completely water it, because a media does not rot an orchid. It's the person watering it. So yeah, just make sure that you don't water it too often, and make sure that you check with maybe like a bamboo like stick or something, and make sure that it's completely dry before you start watering. You can also use like synthetic and organic material. There you go. There's leca pebbles. So I'm currently experimenting with them. Those are just like the little balls that you use, and they wick up water. Yeah, that type of material. I'll link up my video right here. What else? I feel like I'm missing more. There's Ceramis, which is more water retentive than the leca pebbles. Kinda, I feel like it resembles more sphagnum than anything else, just by the water quantity they absorb. But it's definitely like the pieces are more bark shaped, if that makes any sense. I know I'm probably missing some some potting materials, but those are the major ones. So I'll go to the next question because it's at 18 minutes right now. I'm sorry. So should I grow orchids indoors or outdoors? And that depends what you want to do, and also your environment. So if you live in Chicago and you want to grow your orchids outdoors, you're probably only gonna You can probably only grow them outdoors during the summer, and then indoors during winter, just because it does get really cold. So you can definitely grow them outside still when it gets like winter time, but you're probably gonna have to have a greenhouse and provide heat for it. So yeah, it's better if you just grow them outdoors and then bring them in when it gets too cold. You can also definitely grow them indoors with lights. A lot of people grow them in their basements if they don't have space. So yeah, definitely you can do like a lot of things with orchids. And if you're lucky enough to have summer basically year-round, you can grow them outside. So the temperature drop at night would also make your orchids spike. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed or learned a bit or found out some new information with the questions I just answered. If you still have more questions about these or any other questions, definitely comment down below. But I will be making a second part to this. I'll probably be releasing that part the next day. So if it's a question, if you guys are asking a question about this, the next set of questions, I will just link you to that video. Okay? Thank you guys. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment down any future videos you guys want me to do. And if you have any more questions, also comment down and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you guys.